a survivor for suicide attempts myself, and I've also lost a dear friend, a stepson and a foster son to suicide. And I've just turned 65 and I just went, oh, I'm now with the oldies, and I don't feel old at all. Every time, and as of yesterday, I've been released from mental, I say released. I've been discharged from the Mackay mental health, and they've just charged me back to my GP after a recent episode where I was in the mental health unit for about 3 weeks. I think even a little bit for me, because I've also got fibromyalgia, I used to dance a lot, and I really miss not being able to dance like I used to. It's really painful for me. And I was always a person that was always up and go, go, go. You know, I worked 2 jobs and I was always on the go. And I find now with the pain, and I feel a bit useless at times because I can't do stuff that I used to do. And I think that for me can lead to a bit of depression, just that, oh, I can't do what I used to. That's always been a tricky one because I've always covered it up a fair bit. People generally in the past wouldn't have picked it up, except when I really think about one time, I don't eat, I don't shower, I'm always asleep, I disconnect from people, I don't make phone calls or texts, or I just withdraw when I think about it. That's probably how someone would know, but they'd have to know me really well to even be able to pick that up. Because I moved to Mackay 8 years ago, and mental health here had no record of me. So when I had my psychotic episode, to them it just seemed like it was out of the blue. And I think if I was still back in Melbourne with my friends, they would have known much, much earlier that I wasn't well. But I just left it too long and became totally psychotic. And I've never been that way because I've always had friends in Melbourne that would know the warning signs of me about to become totally irrational. That's got trickier, I think, as I've got older. I've kept more to myself. I used to be really quite an extrovert, but I find as I've got older, I've become more introvert. So how would someone walk along beside me? Usually it's someone that's gone through the same things as I have. So I might say something and they'll say, oh yeah, me too. So then I'm able to relate to those sort of people, because there's a lot of people that really don't understand anything to do with mental health or depression or suicide. My late father-in-law had no idea what it was like. He couldn't get his head around anyone that would think of suicide. So there's also a lot of people around like that as well. So it's, I think it has to be someone who's lived it as well, I think, for me. That's the tricky one. I'm thinking of people with disabilities that, might have had a stroke or something, ill health as well, to create a sense of purpose in a person, because I worked at Lifeline on the phones, so I had a lot of these sorts of calls from very lonely people, and a sense of purpose is difficult. I mean, we have the men's shed, but you can't encourage some men to go there. That's a hard question. How do we encourage a sense of purpose? You could talk to them about what they used to do in the past when they were younger and see if that can be modified in a way that they can still do something of what they used to and gives them a sense of purpose, or find out what they can do and work it out from there. It's a tricky question, that one. I do stand-up comedy. I'm not really good. I actually went down to Melbourne on a seniors discount and I was the best graduate, which was really quite funny. So doing stand-up at my age is something, but it does encourage other people. I think that with anything, laughter is always the best medicine. So my whole family just have a really dark humour about death and life. We've had a lot of tragedies, and my sisters and nephews and things have passed and killed and things. But we just, like Mum says, if you could lay in bed all day and worry about what was past, but that's not going to do anything. I actually wrote a song, her favourite saying, my mum's 100, is get up, get dressed, get out. And I actually wrote a song for my mum's 100th birthday on that. And it's been my motto that even in the days where I'm in absolute pain because of the fibromyalgia, I make sure I get up. You've got to be able to trust them. I've been very fortunate here in Mackay. I found my worker, my support worker, was not a young girl. She was, sort of in her late 50s, and that she was a little bit more relatable than sending the youngsters out to me. They need to have a fair bit of understanding of what's going on in the world, and for me, they've got to be able to have a laugh. So that's just me. They've got to have a connection to you. Not that you're just another patient. Push you through the system. They've got to have a bit of. Because I've had two different support workers, but I do prefer the female one to the male one. He wasn't quite as understanding as the female support worker that I've had. Something that's really important that they know is just to make sure that we're covering loneliness. That's probably the hardest thing for the elderly. For a worker, to try and encourage what somebody can do rather than what they can't do. And even if it's just the minutest little thing, someone might used to be able to crochet. Well, maybe the support worker could sit there and help them do a bit of crocheting. Just something to remind yourself that everybody can do something. It's just finding the little something that you're still good at, even though you may be elderly or you may be have some disabilities. But yeah, because next week I'm doing a 3-day theatre workshop as a participant, and that's for people with all abilities. I'll be the oldest one there. And never be afraid to join in with young ones. Make connections with younger children, do something, because that sort of gives you a youthfulness. Yeah, if that makes any sense.